I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Merkakodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And in this lesson, I wanted to go through a few articles here, dealing with this topic of um, these men coming for these women. Okay, and this is something that I've been noticing occurring a lot more in the extreme cases, very, very, very frequently. Okay, and a lot of these cases are sexual assault, sex trafficking, um, rape, which could fall under sexual assault, um, and violence, kidnapping. So I have three articles here that I want to go through, and the point of the lesson is, looking at the way that these things are happening now, and society is still somewhat functional now. You still have police around, you still have people going about, all hell hasn't fully broken loose yet, and yet, people are out here. I mean, it's like every other day or every single day you hear some account of a story like that, right? So how much more for when society collapses? How much more for when the lights go out? How much more for when you have to physically, fight for yourself and defend and, fend for yourself. If this is the case now you understand why the scriptures say what they say in that time. Okay, just have this set up. So the first one is here, as you can see, homeless man indicted for holding 15-year-old hostage in New York City for months. Hear that? The next one is man rapes woman at knife point in Bronx Park in broad daylight. Broad daylight. And you have another one here. It says teacher, NYC teacher preyed on female students, threatened one's life over text. So, in essence, as we keep telling you, when this thing goes down, man, women are a prey, okay? And they get mad when you say that, but it doesn't matter how mad you get. Is that going to change the fact that these things are going on? No, it's not. Okay? So, you should be preparing your mind, and taking heed to these warning signs. As the scriptures say, rise up, ye women that are at ease. So I'll read a little bit of this. And it says, homeless man indicted for holding 15-year-old hostage in New York City for months. It says a man has been indicted on first-degree kidnapping, sex trafficking, and rape charges for sexually exploiting and assaulting a teen girl and holding her against her will. It says here, Bronx District Attorney Darcel D. Clark said the defendant is charged in a 20-count indictment for allegedly beating, raping, and sex trafficking a girl who was only 15 years old when she met him. It is alleged that he raped her and held her hostage in various locations for 7 months. Now, that's quite a long time. It says the defendant allegedly employed a classic trauma bond to keep her with him. Now, let's look that up. Trauma bond or bonding definition. And it says here, traumatic bonding or trauma bonds are emotional bonds with an individual that arise from a recurring cyclical or cyclical pattern of abuse perpetuated by intermittent reinforcement through rewards and punishments. The process of forming trauma bonds is referred to as trauma bonding. Let's see. So it says trauma bonding is the attachment an abused person feels for their abuser, specifically in a relationship with a cyclic pattern of abuse. Okay. So in a case like you hear of domestic abuse and then, the woman ends up going back to the guy and you're like, well, why the hell is she still with him if this is what's going on? And they call it trauma bond. All right. Or trauma bonding. So it says here, the defendant allegedly employed a classic trauma bond to keep her with him, instilling fear in the victim while making her believe he cared for her well-being. We will continue our work to hold the defendant accountable for his actions. District Attorney Clark said the defendant, Albert Lenhart, 41, who is homeless, was arraigned on first-degree kidnapping, sex trafficking of a child, sex trafficking, 2 counts of first-degree rape, 3 counts of second-degree kidnapping, second-degree assault, third-degree promoting prostitution, 5 counts of third-degree rape, 3 counts of third-degree criminal sexual act, second-degree strangulation, and 2 counts of fourth-degree criminal possession of a weapon on June 6, 2022, which is just a couple of days ago, before Bronx Supreme Court Justice George Villegas or Villegas, whatever his name is. So now, here's the thing, right? In society today, this guy got caught. These are the charges they brought against him, right? It's likely they're going, find him guilty. And so, this is the case, right? And as I read the story, you'll hear more about what actually transpired. The problem is, or the thing is, when shit hits the fan, this is not going to be the situation where the cops come in, they grab the guy up, they arrest him, they take him to court, they bring charges against him. The girl is, protected and she's, taken, where she could get some help. And that's not going to be the case when shit goes down. When all hell breaks loose, when this happens and somebody grabs hold of a girl, whatever her age or whatever the case is, who's going to be the one? Say the parents, say the girl's out, right? And there's a lights out situation, and she's out by herself. Probably not a good idea, but she does it anyway. She wants to go out and party or do whatever. The lights go out and some dude just picks her off the street. It comes kind of like a situation like this, but in this case, things are looking real bad. This place is looking worse than a third world country. The economy is already collapsing. Riots in the streets, violence everywhere, chaos everywhere, and it's overwhelming. Law enforcement, all of these things are going on, right? Inflation, food prices. So things aren't running the way they would typically run. Police, there's, you call the cops, ain't nobody coming, that kind of thing. And violence is running rampant. So this girl's family, in this example I'm giving you, might notice, hey, she hasn't been back yet. I'm calling her phone, it's off, nobody's picking up. What's going on? Yo, get this thing out of here, man. What's going on? And then, a day or two later, they're calling the cops. They can't reach anybody. They're asking for help, putting up, trying to put up notification if you see this chick, yada yada. That's not really gonna help you, okay? Because in a case like that, this is gonna be commonplace. They take your ass off the street, you're gone. Your family doesn't know where you are. Shit is just wild out here. And so in that time, really only the Lord can deliver you. Because for somebody to find you or for you to escape and call for help, and that's all going to be by the will of the Heavenly Father. So a lot of these proud, rebellious women out here, they're going to find themselves in these tough situations, okay, that they can't handle because they put themselves in certain predicaments because of the artificial protection that the system provides. Well, guess what? The system is crashing. So that means all the teats and benefits and perks that you get with it are going out the window. And it's going to be real out here in these streets. And that's when they're going to realize that in the real world, they don't really have power. So when you're put in a position where you have to exercise power that you now realize you don't have, you're going to see that it's not looking too good for you. And it's going to be too late for a lot of women who are going to want to seek help in that time. Who's coming? So it says here, I'm going to come down and read what actually happened here. According to the investigation, the defendant allegedly sexually abused the victim approximately every other day between September 21st to April 22nd, September 2021 to April 2022. The defendant allegedly began a relationship with the victim, who was 15 years old at the time, in the summer of 2021, and offered her to stay at his then girlfriend's apartment in Brooklyn, where he allegedly began a sexual relationship with the victim against her will and punched, slapped, and choked her. In the fall of 2021, Lenhart allegedly brought the victim, who had just turned 16, to live in the NYCHA Mitchell houses in the Bronx and forced her to perform oral sex on an individual in exchange for drugs for Lenhart. Okay? It says here, in November 2021, the defendant allegedly kept the victim in a utility room in a building of NYCHA Mott Haven houses. At one point, the victim attempted to escape, and the defendant allegedly assaulted her and slashed her wrist with a blade, causing a deep wound, and raped her. According to the investigation, on January 23rd, 2022, the defendant allegedly raped the victim in a public park bathroom, then brought her to his sister's apartment on College Avenue, where she was raped again, and when she tried to leave, the defendant threatened her with a knife. The teen girl was able to text a family member who then called the police. Officers arrived and the victim was able to leave. The defendant escaped. The victim went back to him. According to the investigation, in the end of March 2022, Lenhart took the victim to a utility room on a roof of a Mitchell Houses building where he raped and strangled her. The case is being prosecuted, and then it goes on, so on and so forth. So, this is just one incident. Okay, very, wild incident here. Okay, for months. And then you have another one here, which is from, what is this, New York Post. Okay, it says here, now this is the crazy part, right? Man rapes woman at knife point in Bronx Park in broad daylight. Okay, broad daylight. So a lot of these men here are sexually frustrated, whatever the case is with them, but you can see that they're not holding back. And like I said, this society is still functional to some extent in this time. So what do you think is going to be happening when the lights go out and when shit starts hitting the fan? These are things you're supposed to be thinking about instead of trying to go out there and be G.I. Jane and thinking, ain't nobody going to do shit to me. Okay? Now it says broad daylight in the park. Now it says a man stalked and raped a woman at knife point inside a Bronx park Tuesday morning in a disturbing daylight attack, police said. Now, when all hell breaks loose, you're going to be seeing things like this. You may be driving past the area, you may just see bright in the broad daylight a man raping a woman, she's screaming for help, and nobody's going to help her. People are just running by, buildings are on fire, alarms are going off, car alarms are going off, people are breaking into houses, breaking into stores, dead bodies in the street. It's going to get bad. It says the suspect waited in front of the woman's apartment near Beach Terrace and Beekman Avenue and struck when the 38-year-old woman or 38-year-old victim walked outside at 8:30 a.m., according to NYPD. Now, I'm yet to hear a story where a case like this happens and the woman just grabs the guy, choke slams him, gives him a pedigree DDT, WrestleMania style on his ass, and then, fights back and escapes and makes it. I'm sure there's been similar stories out there where women have been able to escape, but in most cases you'll see it plays out in the case that's not in the woman's favor. So that's something you should keep in mind, that how is it that there's a common trend between when a woman finds herself in this position and how it ends up playing out if nobody else helps her. She gets taken advantage of. So it's not good to put yourself out there. All right. That proud spirit that you act as though when you're put in a situation like this, you're going to be able to just fight, do whatever the hell you want to, karate kick him in the nuts and, what I'm saying? Do some ninja moves and shit. But then that's not the case. Reality hits, and that's a very, very different scenario. All right. That's the reality that, a lot of people have to put into their minds. And for those of you that have women and daughters and, keep a very close eye on them. Know where they are, and, just of course, pray first and foremost, but just be mentally alert. Have them be circumspect, because at this point, dude's just taking women off the streets. It says the fiend, armed with a knife, forced the woman to walk to St. Mary's Park, where he brutally raped her and stole her debit card, police said. The rapist ran out of the park, westbound on East 141st Street, and then used his victim's debit card to make a $3 purchase at a nearby deli. The hell? It says the woman received treatment in an area hospital and is in stable condition. And that's the thing. Here's another thing to highlight. When shit hits the fan, this part about the woman receiving treatment and all, that's not going to be happening. She might just be, like he said, like the thing says, brutally raped, and now she's lying by the street in the park, just hurt. Police do not believe the woman and the attacker knew each other. See? So man's just pulled up, stalked a random woman that she ain't know him, and then voila, this is the outcome of that. Okay, and then you have another one here, which I'm not gonna read too much into. It's a pretty short story, but in this case, you had a NYC teacher who apparently he groped, he grabbed the breasts of a 14-year-old girl, and then he sent some explicit messages to the 16-year-old girl. Let me see. I think right. Let me see. Let me come down. There's another part here. Okay, here's a part here. It says here, continuing according to the charges, while in school on May 25th, 2022, the defendant allegedly stated to the 16-year-old victim in sum and substance that he was jealous of her and a male student, and she should look out for him the way he looks out for her. Later that evening, the victim communicated with the defendant by text asking what he meant, and Hall allegedly responded, among other things, that he wanted to kiss her, smoke with her, and have sex with her. Okay, so, they got, they in schools, in the streets, in the parks, and everywhere. Okay, but this is a warning to let you know, look, these things happen. Now, if they're happening on this frequent rate, all right, while things are still functional, you still have police going around and all of that, which they claim to be increasing police presence, and yet these things keep taking place. When this society crumbles, what are you going to do? This is Isaiah 32:9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease, because they think this can never happen to them. Okay, and but take a look at these stories. These three different stories. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech, and the speech of the Lord comes by way of the prophets, which are telling you to repent, stop your wicked ways, stop your adulterous ways, turn back to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Okay, that Lord willing may be granted mercy and be protected in that time. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Why? Why is the scriptures warning you to tremble, to be troubled, to prepare yourself for sorrow? Why? Because that's what's coming. And in hard times, it's harder on women. Okay, because, like, for example, men, for the most part, right, just on a very high level, men, for the most part, okay, you got to deal with, maybe famines and, all these things that are going on. Salakia. You got to deal with famines and all these things that are going on. The chaos, against other men and all of that. But mainly you're trying to survive. Now, women are going to have to deal with the same thing. All right. And then in addition to that, they're going to have to deal with, other men coming for them. Okay? And that's a problem for a lot of them because you're not as strong as the average man or fast unless you're, an exceptional case. See? So it's like trying to fight fire with wood. Doesn't really have a good outcome for the person trying to fight it with the wood. The wood gets burnt. And it fuels the fire. So, or trying to fight fire with chaff, So it says here, Okay, that's really the main part I wanted to hit about rise up, you women that are at ease. And these should be signs that should concern you. Okay, and should let you know, look, damn, these times that we're coming into, they're not really going to be safe times. So, I shouldn't really be out here like that. All right, and you shouldn't. So, moving on, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 16. It says, their children also shall be dashed in pieces before their eyes. And this is when all hell breaks loose. It says, their houses shall be spoiled, right? People are going to be breaking in, taking things and people. And what? Their wives ravished. Okay, their wives ravished, taken and raped, lain with against their will. Okay. And this is 2 Ezra 5 and 9. It says, and salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber, and shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon the earth. And incontinency goes into basically lack of self-restraint. Okay, and that's why you're seeing these people, commit these acts. They don't care about restraining themselves. They care about fulfilling, their desires. So whether you're married or you're not or whatever, you're begging them, they're not gonna care. All right, these are the times that we're in. So wise up, and be ready, because as the scriptures say, rise up, ye women that are at ease. Anyway, with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakak Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.